Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the UCL Computer Science Graduate Open event for our MSc in Emerging Digital Technologies. My name is Kieran Haid, and I work as the Student Recruitment Marketing Manager for the Department of Computer Science. So my job is to make sure that you, as prospective students, applicants, offer holders, have access to all the information you need, whether it's through the website or events like these with opportunities to connect with staff, students and alumni from computer science. So I'm just going to give it a minute or so. I can see people starting to come into the room. So we will give it another 30 seconds or so, and then we will get started with the event. All right, I'm just going to start by sharing my screen. Okay. Can someone please just confirm you can see that okay? Yeah. All right. Perfect. So we are at the Graduate Open event for the Emerging Digital Technologies MSc. And this is a quick overview of what the next hour or so is going to look like. We will do a quick round of introductions so you can meet everybody on our panel today. And then we are going to hand over to a mini taster session. So just to get a feel for what the content of the program might be like. Then we'll do an overview of the program. So looking at things like the structure, projects that students have worked on in the past. Then we'll have a short session on admissions with our admissions tutor to get some advice for your application. And then we're going to hand over to two of our recent graduates who will talk to you about their experience here at UCL and what they're doing now. Then at the end of the session, we will open up to a Q&A. So please do take this opportunity to ask your questions in real time. It's a really great opportunity to have access to staff and former students to get those questions answered. There's a Q&A function within Zoom, so please use that to submit your questions, and we'll probably wait until the end so that we can answer them verbally for everybody. Okay. So we'll start with a round of introductions. So we'll kind of go in order of the images on here. I'm going to hand over to you, Java, to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone here. My name is Java Xu. I am the program director for this program, Emerging Digital Technologies. I'm also associate professor in financial computing at UCL Department of Computer Science, as well as currently the executive director of the Center for Blockchain Technologies here. I guess I'll pass the floor to Amanda, who's next to me on the slide.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Lee and I graduated from UCL's Emerging Digital Technology program in 2023. I'm currently working as a product manager at the DLT Science Foundation.
Hello everyone, I'm Paolo Baruca. I'm associate professor in the Financial Computing Analytics Group and admission tutor for ADT. Pleasure to meet you. I'm also teaching algorithmic trading and advanced machine learning in finance, which are two modules that can be taken within the master. Thank you so much. I'll pass the word to Hala.
Thank you, Paolo. Hi, everyone. My name is Hala. I'm the most recent alumni, graduated last year from the Emerging Digital Technologies program under Java. And at the moment, I'm working with the UCL Quantum Research Institute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Silvia Bartolucci. I'm an associate professor in the Financial Computing Group in the Computer Science Department. I'm the program coordinator of the finance-related masters that we run, including EDT, and working with program directors and admission tutors to coordinate the teaching activities. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, thank you everyone for your introductions there. We'll hear from everybody a little bit more throughout the course of the next hour. So before we kick off with the real sort of program specific stuff, the stuff we're here for today, I just have to say a couple of words about UCL and our department in general. So I'm going to throw some numbers at you. This is a good way to get to know the university quite quickly. So as many of you know, UCL is a very research intensive university, and we rank second in the UK for the strength of our research. We're also home to a big number of Nobel Prize winners, currently stands at 32, and we have over 9,500 academic staff teaching across a wide variety of disciplines. Teaching over 50,000 students, and those students come from over 150 different countries. So we are a really international and diverse community. We're also one of the best universities in the world. According to the current QS World University Rankings, UCL is 9th in the world. And then finally, we've got the University of the Year award from last year from the Times and Sunday Times. So all of that just to give you sort of in a nutshell what UCL is all about. And then moving on to our department, the Department of Computer Science. We sit within the Faculty of Engineering at UCL, and we're actually the largest department in the faculty, both in terms of our staff and the number of students that we teach. Again, we're really, really strong in research. So we're second in the UK for the strength of our research and the first in England. And whenever we talk about our research, this is based on the Research Excellence Framework, or REF, which you might have heard about. It's an exercise that universities in the UK do once every 7 years to sort of measure the power and the impact of the research that we're doing. We've got really close connections with some exciting kind of mega tech companies. So Google, DeepMind, Microsoft, Facebook, TikTok, and some of these were even founded by UCL Computer Science alumni. So really, really exciting place to study. And there've been lots of really cool spin-offs and things coming out of UCL Computer Science. Kind of outside of tech, we've got really close connections with a wide variety of industries. So anything from hospitals to financial institutions, which would be really relevant to this program, local schools, educational institutions, you know, you name it, UCL has probably worked with that industry. And then finally, just to sort of touch upon how interdisciplinary we are, that's sort of in the DNA of UCL as an institution, but also very much what we do here in computer science. And that's reflected in our teaching. The research and the teaching go hand in hand. So, you know, it's really strong with kind of national and international impact. So there you go, sort of a nutshell of UCL and us in the Department of Computer Science. But I really want to use the time today to hand over to the specialists and talk a little bit more in detail about this program. So let's get things started with you, Sylvia.
Yeah, so hi again. So before we dive in with the taster lecture and get you a little bit more acquainted with the content of what your masters will look like, we would like to get a feel of this virtual room and understanding a little bit more what excites you about the world of emerging digital technologies, whether there is a specific one that you are looking at or a specific application you'll be interested in diving in. So if you log in into menti.com and you use the codes up here, you could just type in a couple of words of technologies or applications you might be looking or interested in looking into. After this, Dr. Xu will guide you into kind of a quick overview of a specific tech and applications. So I see already popping in a few very interesting keywords. Of course, blockchain, distributed ledger technologies will be part of the discussion that we will have in a few minutes. Machine learning and AI are very hot topic, and industry is really looking at new graduates in this area. Any specific application that you have in mind? Of course, Kieran already highlighted that a core of the program is focused on financial technologies, financial services, but it's well, this program is looks at going well beyond that as well. So some people are also writing in the chat, cybersecurity. Indeed, when you're looking at technology, when you have code, that's important to look at resilience and potential issues or failures, single point of failures in the technology. So yeah, I think, so I'll give you a few more minutes to pop in any other ideas. This is just to pick your brain and then start thinking about what you will actually learn ultimately in the program. And as you'll see later, later today, you will be able to shape your curriculum depending on what specific technology and applications as well, both during the modules and later on in the project. So someone else is suggesting in the chat also the digital transformation. Yeah, so more broadly, a number of business sectors have been are looking at how to digitize their processes and what are the best technologies that can be applied in that sense. Okay, so I think we can you can continue thinking about that throughout the session, and I'll hand over to Java to start delving into a bit more into a specific technology and a specific area of application.
Great. Okay. I'm so glad to see blockchain and AI and machine learning in on the screen, because this is exactly what we are going to talk about in this 10-minute mini taster session. So the topic that I want to introduce today is a very, very exciting topic that's circling around already in the blockchain and also the crypto space specifically. It's to investigate the pump and dump activities in the crypto space. So a lot of students who we have every year, we have a lot of students signing up for the module blockchain technologies. Many of them are fascinated by the technologies themselves, but also many of the students are fascinated by the fact that there are so many crypto millionaires out there, and a lot of us would at some point in time have the belief that it's easy to trade crypto to be very wealthy overnight. So today we want to somehow debunk that and to understand what actual trading demand in the crypto space consists of. And as a matter of fact, you would see that a lot of demand actually come from ingenuine trading activities, fraudulent trading activities, like what we are discussing today, pump and dump activities. So what is actually a pump and dump? Kieran, if you could just reveal the process of a pump and dump activity. So the setup is actually pretty trivial. What you need to, as a pump and dump organizer, what they need to do is to create a group, publicly accessible group. It can be a Telegram group. It can be a Discord group. For those of you in China, you might also have those groups on WeChat as well. But because Chinese platforms are more kind of censored, those groups usually don't survive long. But platforms such as Telegram and Discord, where censorship is less severe, less rigid, you will see a lot of those pump and dump groups. And then afterwards, you would need to do, as a pump and dump organizer, you would need to recruit members. You can do that by advertise links in other channels. You can advertise the pump and dump link on the social media platforms such as Twitter and Reddit and so on and so forth, so that people click in and join the pump and dump group. Once you have collected sufficient number of members in the group, you can start the pump and dump announcement. So there will be a pre-pump announcement, as we show here on the slide. The pump organizer would announce the time and the venue of the pump event. So basically to ask the members of the group to get prepared. Hey, move your funds into this exchange beforehand, so that when we start the pump event, you are prepared and you have the funds to purchase the coin that we're going to pump. And then the organizer would also announce the rules, such as you need to buy fast, you need to hodl. Hodl, what does hodl mean? That's a jargon in the crypto space for holding. So you need to hold the crypto for as long as possible. And you need to shill, troll. What does that mean? That's, again, another crypto jargon, means advertising, promoting the pumped token in other social media platforms, so that we have other followers who would also pump the coins with you to inflate the price of the pumped coin. Then afterwards, when the pre-announced time arrives, the organizer would announce the coin to be pumped. And as you can see, it's usually in the format of a image, and then it's usually it needs a little bit of decoding. So in this example here, it says enter the circled coin. So you have 3 coins there: CNO, RDD, CMT, but the circled one is CNO. This is to prevent bot from scraping the messages and get a unfair advantage towards pumping. Afterwards, the final step, the final stage of pump and dump is obviously dumping the coin. So when the price starts to drop, people will start to either because of panicking or because they might have secured enough profits from pumping event, and then they would start selling the pumped coin. If we could go next, Kieran. So here we want to have a closer look at a specific pump and dump event. In this particular case, we're looking at a pumped token that's called BVB that was pumped in this exchange. Now this exchange is already closed. It's called Cryptopia. And this pump signal was broadcast in at least 5 Telegram channels at the same time. And if we have a closer look at this BVB coin in the next slide, please, we would see that this BVB coin is actually not really doing anything, as in there's actually no specific value backing this BVB coin. It was launched in 2016, and then 6 days after the launch of the token, the Twitter account became pretty much dormant with no tweets or anything whatsoever. And a year after the launch, there was no more development surrounding this token project. It was announced at the very beginning, the goal is to support a popular German football club, the BVB club. But as a matter of fact, you know, the club has actually nothing to do with this coin, and they were not also aware whether the funds collected from the coin issuance was used to support the club or not at all. It was also not listed in major platforms such as CoinMarketCap. It also has a very, very low rating on the exchange, 1 out of 5. So in a nutshell, this coin is what we call a shit coin, usually in crypto jargon. So it is just a coin that is out there doing nothing at all and waiting to be pumped, pretty much, which is the ideal coin to be pumped, because it has a very low liquidity and very low market cap. So when people start to purchase, it will make a great market impact, and you will see a huge price movement as well, which we can see in the next slide. When the pump was announced, or surrounding the pump announcement time, you can see a huge candle bar surrounding that time. But then it got dropped pretty much straight away. If you could click further, Kieran, you can see that the highest price within the 24 hours, and the lowest price is it's about 5 times of difference. And then in the next slide, we can get a closer look of what exactly happened with the price fluctuation of that particular coin. And you can see that about 5 seconds after the announced pump time, which is 7:30, the first pump message was announced saying that, hey, you need to pump this BVB coin. And then soon afterwards, 20 seconds later, immediately, you can see that the coin price reached the peak. And the peak lasted for just only a couple of seconds. Then immediately afterwards, we can see that people started to sell. And then in between, you can see still a little bit struggling. The price struggled to recover, even around 1 minute after the original pump. But very, very soon afterwards, the price started to decline. And at the end of this pump event, it's even, less than 5 minutes, about 3 minutes after the pump announcement, the price already dropped even below the initial price. Kieran, if you could, yeah. So it is all juicy and interesting story, and it's all very nice to know. But as an educated person, in this space, is there anything that we can do about this? Perhaps we could help regulators to predict pump and dump event. Perhaps even as a sophisticated trader, we can use those kind of signals to actually make a profit. There's lots of things that we can do with this kind of information. So in this exercise, we can try to use some basic machine learning techniques to predict pump and dump. And by investigating the data, which I would not go into detail in this taster session, we would select a few features that is very good for pump and dump coin prediction. Those features are market cap, return and return volatility, volume and volume of volatility, how many times the coin has been pumped before, how old is the coin, what's the rating, and also minimum maximum withdrawal fees. The reason why we selected those features is because, well, for obvious reasons, it is easier to pump a low market cap coin than a high market cap coin, especially if your pump organization is organized in a relatively small group. By small, I mean not in the scale of millions of people rushing into buying a stock all at once, but in the sense of 1,000 people buying something at once. So with a relatively small scale, it is easy to pump a low liquidity, low market cap coin. It is the same kind of ideas in traditional finance and traditional trading environment when it is very easy to pump and dump a penny stock. It's the same idea. And also it has been observed that some coins will be pumped more than once. That is a quote unquote promise that pump organizers announce to their followers. They say that, hey, if this time you didn't manage to dump your coin in time, do not worry, keep holding your coins, because those coins are likely to be pumped again in the future, and then you would have a time advantage, and then you can dump the coin when the price is at the peak. So the organizers do promise that, and we also do observe that when the coin has been pumped, it is likely to be pumped again. And we also observe that it is more likely for a new coins to be pumped than for a very, very aged old coin. And also we observe that coins with a very low rating is more likely to be pumped. So what we choose here is a random forest classification method. We also test a generalized linear model. And for random forest, we need to use a balanced sample because, as we can see in the next slide, Kieran, among all the coins we have, there are so many crypto assets in the world out there. And for a particular exchange, especially those relatively shadier exchanges, I'm not talking about big exchanges like Binance, although we also observe pump and dump events in big exchanges like Binance as well. But for small exchanges like the one that we're observing here, Cryptopia, they have less stringent due diligence procedures. So it is more likely for coins to be listed in there. So usually you would have many tokens listed in one exchange. In our case, we have a total basket of over 5,000 coins. But in our sample, the coins that were actually pumped in history with only 60. So it is a very unbalanced sample. So we need techniques to balance the sample. And the result is actually pretty promising. So in the out of sample test, we can see that we get a precision rate of 100%, and the F1 rate not so great, 26%, but it's okay. Let's keep on looking. We can see that we have 0 false positive rate. So for basically, what is that saying is that if a token that's predicted to be so basically, that's saying that if a token that is predicted not to be pumped, then we are sure that it won't get pumped. For a token that is predicted to be pumped, it is likely that it might not get pumped as well. So with this testing result, remember that this is out of sample test result. So the result is relatively reliable. So for people who are interested in trading or who are interested in making profit out of crypto transactions, what we can think of is if we can use this type of market information to come up with some kind of trading strategy. Kieran, if you could move to the next slide. So a simple trading strategy here we formulated is that we select a model and a specific threshold. Remember that this is a classification model. Without going into detail, basically a classification model will give you a probability of the outcome, whether this is true or false. And the default threshold is usually 0.5. So if it's above 0.5, you get classified as true. If it's below 0.5, it's classified as false. But this threshold is also adjustable based on your testing results. And then we can predict each coin's pump likelihood with the trade model beforehand. And then we can invest in those coins with some kind of a weights proportionate to the coin's pump likelihood. If we could go further here. And we also, because this is paper trading, we also make some assumptions. For example, for purchased and pumped coins, call them hits, we assume that we're not greedy. We don't assume that we would achieve the entire theoretical pump gain. We assume that we only achieve half of the pump gain. And for purchased but not pumped coins, remember that we have some false positives. We would assume that those are false alarms and there will be no gain at all. And we can have a look at the result, Kieran. And we can see that actually with this very simple paper trading strategy and with a well-trained model, you can make a return of 60% within a matter of a couple of months. If we could go further. But now the question is, this 60%, is this a scalable return or is it not a scalable return? Again, we are all talking about things on the theoretically on paper. I still want to warn everybody here, if you want to use these trading strategies, you still need to do your research, and it's good to test only with a very small amount, with the understanding that it's highly likely to lose all your initial capital. It's a very dangerous thing to do. Again, we are here in the taster lecture. We're just showing you, different techniques that you can use for trading purposes. But with that kind of warning or disclaimer, I would like to show you an actual screen recording of an actual pump event. And that pump event was recorded slightly, I think a couple of months after our pump and dump study was released. I think after the pump and dump study was released, I would take credit for it, people get more vigilant and fewer people start to actually participate in this pump and dump event because they know that if they're not fast enough, they will become the victims of this kind of event. And Kira, if you could click on this, this video so we can start playing. This is where, this is a pump event promoted by this particular channel called Donald Pump. And I believe, without full evidence, but I believe this has nothing to do with President Donald Trump. I think people just like to use these names as a troll. So on the left-hand side, you can see that the Donald Pump, channel is saying that they are going to announce the pump coin in 5 minutes, and at the clock they did indeed announce the coin QKC. And on the right-hand side, we try to type in first of all QKC to identify the coin. And then we see immediately people start to buy, and you can see a big green candle on the right-hand side of the screen. And you can see that before that, this coin QKC, we didn't investigate that particular coin, but you can see that before that, there's absolutely zero trading volume. So this is a completely dormant coin that nobody really cares about. There's no value backing this coin, and people is just trading it for, pump and dump purposes. And you can see that after a couple of buys, people are already starting to sell. So within 1 minute, people are starting to sell already. You can see that in trade history. So after the clock, we saw 4 buys, 1 sell, 2 buys, and then 4 sells again. And then that was it. That was the end of the pump and dump activity. It just goes very fast. So if you are not fast enough, I would suggest not to participate in these type of activities. If we could go further. And pump and dump, this kind of activities is just a fascinating market activity that we investigate, and we also discuss in our classes. So what else can we do except for predicting pump and dump beforehand, and perhaps coming up with some kind of trading strategies, effective or not, to take advantage of this information? What we can also do is, because of pump and dump events, they are broadcast in the kind of they're orchestrated in a kind of network. What we can also understand is who is actually the true mastermind behind these pump and dump schemes. So there are different techniques that we can use. In our very recent investigation, we used graph neural network to understand who the true mastermind behind a pump and dump network is. This is just a simple stylized scheme of how this whole flow works. If we could go further, Kieran. Without going into further details, I also invite everybody to read the research articles on this kind of events. But this taster session, the goal of this taster session just to give you kind of impression what kind of topics we will be discussing in some of our modules in the EDT program. We will be discussing, not only just technology advancement, but also different activities surrounding those technologies, and also security issues as well as countermeasurements against those security issues as well. I think that concludes the taster session. I saw one hand being raised. Perhaps I'm happy to take a question if there is one.
It's probably best we take questions at the end, just in the interest of time, as we've got quite a bit to get through. But
Of course.
yeah, thank you so much. That was a really fascinating lecture. I really enjoyed that. So we're
Thank
going to
you.
hand over to Sylvia now, who's going to talk to us in a bit more detail about the program itself.
Thank you.
Yep. So delving in a little bit into the program content and organization, we just want to highlight a little bit of the history of this program that was created within the Department of Computer Science a few years ago in collaboration with the Center for Blockchain Technologies. So as we said, the scope is much wider in terms of technology that you explore in this program. And the Blockchain Center for Technology is part of the wider financial computing analytics group. The center is one of the largest and oldest blockchain research centers and has strong ties to industry and governmental institution. That's where we get our kind of connection with industry and companies from small startups to large established institutions that collaborates with us on a research and teaching at the research and teaching level. The broader financial computing analytics group is our own research group where we conduct very interdisciplinary research that is directly reflected in our teaching. The group generally investigates how socioeconomic systems works using methodologies imported from computer science, from statistical physics, from computational statistics, complex networks, and data-driven modeling. So if we move to the next slide, I'll just give you an overview of some of the faculty members that you will meet if you join this program, and to give you an idea of the blend of expertise and interdisciplinary approach that we have in the group. We have indeed a core of the group that are specialists in the context of mathematical finance and financial engineering. Some of you were mentioning this application in the previous discussion that we had. So we have Professor Germano, Dr. Ahmad, and Dr. Phelan, who are working, for example, on option pricing and calibration models. We have expertise in the area of fintech and entrepreneurship with Mr. Vadgama, for example. We have, of course, a core of us is interested in blockchain technologies, distributed ledger technologies, and smart contracts. Indeed, myself and Java as module leaders of blockchain technologies. Professor Clark, who is an expert in smart contract and legal smart contracts. And some of us are generally, we're all interested in data-driven modeling. And so we have a blend of expertise in a number of techniques ranging from, machine learning, large language models, time series analysis with, a number of applications ranging from, finance to economics. And on the economic side, for instance, Dr. Shanona is an expert in applying those techniques, large language model and machine learning to the labor markets, understanding the net zero transition and climate risk. So we really have kind of a blend expertise. What I want to stress is that all of us are really using our research, as you've seen with the previous taster lecture, directly bringing it into the class. And most of us, if not all, have direct exposure with industry that, is brought back again into the master via guest lectures, hackathons, and activities that we organize throughout the years. Actually, we also have really external lecturers that are actively working in the industry or that have had a very long career in financial services. For instance, Dr. Firuzi had extensive experience in algorithmic trading and had worked before at Nomura, Goldman Sachs, and large investment banks and hedge funds. And my colleague, Dr. Bernesi, with whom I'm co-teaching the microstructure module, is actually the head of the FX trading desk at HSBC. So all this industry links are then brought back into the classroom, and as you probably discuss later with our former students, also in the summer project, so in your dissertation and research. That's the overview of what we do here. I'll hand it over to Java to discuss the program goals.
Thanks, Sylvia. I'll just quickly take over, and conscious of time, I'll just go fast on this. So the goal of the program, as you might already understand, is to give you a better understanding of emerging technologies and also their applications to financial services. We also provide business and strategic considerations for financial services, and we want to provide understanding of financial products and also develop for you quantitative finance skills. We discussed in the taster session, machine learning and AI skills, not just in the blockchain technologies module, but also in an array of other modules, which we'll see in the next slide, Kieran. This is the overview of the program diet. We have 4 core modules spread between term 1, term 2. In term 3, we have the dissertation or summer project module as well. And we also have a wide range of optional and elective modules, including those in computer security. Some of you mentioned you are interested in cybersecurity. That's something that we offer. And you mentioned AI and machine learning. There's AI and machine learning in a lot of modules that we provide in the option and elective modules as well. This is the information that you will be that are openly available on the internet anyway. So I wouldn't go too much into detail. So if we could just go to the next slide. And this is, I think, one of the most exciting offerings that we have here at UCL, which is the Industry Exchange program. And this is just a list of the industry projects that we had last year. And you can see some big names such as HSBC, SMP here on the screen. And then we have also, due to the nature of the program, Emerging Digital Technologies, we also work with a large number of startups as well. You can also see that a couple of students organized their own summer projects, and that is also permitted. So as long as you speak to your program director and then you get the permission, usually it's a yes. You can also self-organize your own summer project and write your dissertation with the company that you want to work with. If we could go next. I think I can pass the floor to our amazing admissions tutor, Paulo Bruca. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you very much. So for the session today, I wanted to point out the main aspects that, of course, starting from the requirements. So the academic and language requirement for the admissions, EDT, formally, so it's the UK Honors 2.1 or an equivalent, depending on your own degree. And the English language level is formally level 3, which may be mapped into different kind of levels depending on the actual test that you took. But that's in terms of absolute English language level, UCL is level 3. Of course, because in all the modules, you need the full understanding of what we're teaching, and both from academic and language perspective. And on the academic side, what I wanted to point out today, in this short list, I'm pointing at 3 aspects. Active interest in new technology, as you've seen from Professor Drew Java presentation, Of course, the interest in fintech technology and blockchain is crucial and is part of this. And I mentioned this active interest because it could be something that you're coming from a point of view of business potentially. So if you have some kind of strategy in mind for fintech in the future, so you're entering this quantitative understanding also with a business mindset. So potential to develop a quantitative understanding, and this is mapped into the fact that we're looking for candidates that have a background of mathematics or the potential to build their mathematical skills also at the early stages of the master. So what I encourage to do on this line is both on the active interest and potential and passion is try to emphasize in your application your exams in a mathematical background, potentially the activities that show your active interest in fintech and blockchain areas, and potentially your passion for this, for the impact you want to have in digital innovation for your own point of view and for your own future potential career that you want to foster with this master. So these are the kind of key words and key elements that we're looking for in candidates. So again, if you try to emphasize these aspects in your application, of course, that will make our lives easier. But of course, we look for this skills, and we'll be looking forward to working with you and teaching for doing this master. Yeah, then I'll try to save some time for questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Paolo. Really useful information for future applicants. So for the final section, we're going to hand over to our alumni. So first of all, I would like to invite Amanda.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hi again. So my name is Amanda Lee, and I am an alumni from the Emerging Digital Technologies program. And so yeah, a bit about my background. So I moved from Malaysia to London back in 2019, where I did my bachelor's at Imperial College London in mechanical engineering. I think it was somewhere in my second year that I realized I wanted to pivot into something a bit more software focused, and I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be. But eventually, I found my way to UCL, and I did the Masters of Emerging Digital Technologies, so which Java was the program director of, and she was very, very helpful in answering my emails and all before I decided to apply for the program. And yeah, and so after that, during the program, in the summer, there's the UCL summer projects, which is part of the Industry Exchange Network. So I did that at Quant Network Limited, and thereafter I was hired full-time as an R&D specialist over there, where I worked on stuff related to blockchain interoperability as well as smart contracts, which is related to my dissertation, which I'll talk about a bit more later. But yeah, while I was working at Quant, a couple of the professors at UCL from my program whireached out to me via email to ask if I would like to join one of their spin-off companies called the DLT Science Foundation. So which I eventually end up doing. So right now I'm a product manager and business analyst there. Could we have the next slide, please? Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, when I was asked to do this presentation, I was just thinking back in terms of why did I choose to come to UCL to do this program? And there's many reasons, but I think two of it was probably that UCL is a top-ranked university, and I think it really helps for employers to know that you come from a reputable university. And I mean, the second one was because in my bachelor's degree, it was very exam focus. So I had it was almost completely closed book exams, which is great in a sense, but also I feel like it's never quite the same as doing project works, where you really get your hands-on experience on how to build an app or how to do something, do a real world project. So which was what drew me to this program. Next slide, thank you. I think a great thing about UCL and this program was that it gave me a lot of opportunities that I would never have had elsewhere. So one of it was I remember towards during my degree, there was quite a few times where the lecturers and professors would put out announcements saying that they're looking for representatives for this hackathon or this event and stuff like that. And so I remember when I saw an email saying that, hey, there's going to be this hackathon in the Netherlands, yeah, on the XRP ledger. And so I put in an application for that and was accepted. So yeah, it was really great to go there. And I mean, it was honestly the first hackathon I've joined in my entire life. So what I did not expect was that we actually won the hackathon, which meant we got a bunch of prize money and also an invitation to come back to the Netherlands again later that month to present our project on stage. So it was on a charity transparency solution on the XRP ledger. So it was really great doing it at the Apex annual developer conference. And yeah, and also just great opportunities to meet people, meet influential people, and to build connections. And yeah, finally, I just wanted to talk about a little bit about my summer project. So my project was about benchmarking Turing complete languages for smart contracts on permissionless blockchains. So I did that with Quant Network, and my project was supervised by Dr. Nikhil Vakama at UCL. Yep, and yeah, it was just I mean, it was a massive dissertation of 50,000 words, I think, or more than that, maybe even. And yeah, and towards the end of my project, I also got to do a project showcase to all the industry partners, as well as some students who came to the event at UCL School of Management, as well as doing another presentation that involved the entire company at Quant Network. So that was great, and it was also really good that yeah, I mean, after the project, the people at Quant were we're looking to hire one of the students to become a full-time employee, and yeah, it was really nice to sort of have that career opportunity open up, and I didn't have to worry more about applying for jobs. So that was great. Yeah, and I'll hand it back to Kiran. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. What a lovely story, and thank you for such a great presentation and bringing it all to life for us. So we are going to hand over now to Hala, who is going to talk to us about her experience on the EDT MSc.
Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, everyone, for having me. I'd just like to, just to introduce myself very quickly, I am one of the alumni from the most recent graduating cohort last year, and I'm here to tell you a bit more about my experience. So if you can move on to the first slide, just a bit of my background, and essentially, I'd like to say the position that I was at before applying to the UCL EDT Masters. I graduated from the University of Leeds with a bachelor's in computer science, specializing in artificial intelligence. And although I didn't know it at the time, but my internship with Deticon was really what drove me to the EDT program. Naturally, because it was in consulting and it was in Germany, it was very tech heavy. A lot of the projects we were on were about emerging technologies. And one of them, which was very interesting, was with the European Union. And we were doing a very large report about the cybersecurity threats that they might face in 2030. So immediately, I was bombarded with so many new technologies that I haven't heard of before. And that led me to the question of, what are the other technologies that artificial intelligence and my expertise within that can be applied to, so that I can be, get a head start and kind of be in one with the research that's being done on those technologies. Next slide, please. So that led me to the MSc at UCL. I'm very happy to say that I was course representative, and I think Java's she's been very happy with the kind of feedback and representing the students that I've done. I can't take all the credit. The course, my cohort was incredibly lovely. This is a picture of all of them. There's a small error there to me, and that's the rest of the cohort. I would like to add on and say that the course was incredibly balanced between technical and business modules. So unlike my bachelor's, which was so tech focused and far away from industry, like what Amanda mentioned, this was more industry based, and a lot of the lecturers made an effort to share not just their research, but also how it can be applied to industry. And with that came a lot of great guest lecturers that were really celebrities in their field, without sounding too nerdy about that. And with those guest lecturers, I was able to go on and do my industry project. in that industry project, I did it with Quantinuum, which is on the next slide. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so to talk a bit more about my industry project, I reached out to Quantinuum and yeah, so it was through the guest lecture by Steve Clark, who's the head of AI there. Asked him if he was interested in having me be one of their students who's doing the industry project, and UCL was very supportive with that. Although it was me who was reaching out and finding my own company, the process was very easy with UCL. So I definitely do recommend with the thesis project to go out of your way and look at companies that you might be interested in, because the team at UCL is just very, very easy with dealing with that and working with that. I went through a bit of a different route in the sense that I did it in quantum computing. Now I didn't have any background in quantum computing, so you might think that was a bit of a bold move from my end, but thankfully UCL has a great quantum tech institute that was more than happy to take me, under their wing and teach me everything that I didn't know. And of course, as a computer scientist, a lot of my knowledge could have been easily adapted to the quantum space. And I'm very proud to say that our research was actually published on the archive. You can go have a look, read through it if you'd like. It was published and I co-wrote it with my supervisor, Maharnoush, who led the project with me as well. And we were consulted by the team at Quantinuum. If you don't want to read the full paper, it was featured on the Quantum Insider. Matt Swine did a great job in just summarizing the full paper and giving a more easy read to it. And naturally, that gave me a lot of exposure within the quantum space. And it kind of gave me that kind of confidence to pursue it even further. So I think naturally the question goes to what am I doing now and where am I within that space? So if we could move on to the next slide. Yeah. So where I am now, at the moment, I'm working as a research assistant with the UCL Quantum Tech Institution. I've also acknowledged that I didn't have that much of a quantum background. And with that, naturally, we're always learning. So after graduation, I did a quick certificate with MIT within the quantum space. And naturally, because I am in research, this is always something that, you need to always be reaching out and researching about the new ways that you could learn and adapt, especially with an emerging technology that comes with it. And there's no need to shy away from that. I've been to conferences all over the world, most recently the Quantum Innovation Summit last month. And with that came a lot of networking opportunities and exposure to a lot of great industry experts and leaders. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask at the end of the session and connect with me on LinkedIn if you'd like to know more about my journey and how it progresses.
Thank you for that. I think that's really fascinating and such a great example of how you took advantage of the industry speakers that came in and were sort of able to pivot into something really new and use your dissertation to support that. So that's a really exciting journey to have shared. For the last part of our session, we are running short on time, but I'm happy to go a little bit over an hour if everybody else is. We would like to open the floor to questions. So anyone attending here today, if you have questions about anything that we have covered so far or things that we haven't covered and you would like to know about, please use the Q&A function within Zoom, and we will begin answering those. Okay, I might stop sharing my screen. But yeah, please feel free to submit any questions that you have. Don't be shy. Okay, so I've got one here which I'm going to read out loud if that's okay. Okay, now the questions that are coming through are very specific to admissions, and they're very specific to your individual cases. So I think probably for these, it's best that we don't answer them in sort of a public forum like this, but we can make a note of your names, and we can follow up with both of you. I don't think it's appropriate to be speaking about an individual student's application on an event like this. So apologies to the two people that have asked specifically about their program, but we will follow up with you. Another question that's come in, and I might hand over to you for this one, Sylvia, as you've got a very good overview of the programs that sit within sort of the financial computing area. Can you briefly outline the differences between this course and the financial technology masters?
Yes, so thank you for the question. As you can see, of course, there is a core of technology and modules that are across the board, but the financial technology masters as a like narrower focus more on the financial services industry, and so you get more exposure to basics of finance. Here, as you've seen with the also listening from the experience of our students, you have access to the broader space of technology, which could range from distributed ledger technologies, machine learning, software engineering, quantum computing. So really you have more flexibility to shape your curriculum on a specific technology that you may be interested in, and broader set of applications, I would say.
Okay, great. Any more questions coming in? So this one, I'll kind of put it out, and whoever would like to take it, please do. Are there any students who did the Masters in Emerging Digital Technologies who went on to create their own startups? And as a second part to that question, what sort of support is available from UCL for such students?
I can maybe jump on that and then with others. So I think very soon we will have maybe Kiran can add on to that as well, as we're producing this spotlight series on UCL Masters alumni, and soon we will have a story on one of our recent graduate who was within the founding members of a startup which is called Enough, and it's a specific technology for the safety of, I guess it was for women, but you can learn more when the story will be out. So he was within the founding members, and within UCL we have a number of teams that are specialized in sort of the helping you put an idea into a kind of business proposal. So there are a number of activities aimed at bridging academia and industry, and help you shape your project within that. These students was also awarded a prize for kind of knowledge exchange with the UCL. So that was one of the most recent stories, but of course we have a number of other examples of students that started. Some students even started putting their idea together during their dissertation. And I had a student, for example, that was interested in blockchain and the sort of provenance and the fashion industry, and now he's working on putting together a proper business idea on that.
Yeah, so I've just recently published that article. It hasn't gone onto our social media channels, but I've put a link into the chat for anyone who would like to learn more about Alex and the startup Enough, which is kind of a direct example of what you've just asked. Couple more questions. Did you want to add something there? Sorry.
Yeah, I could. There's actually I remember a module that we had. I can't remember the name at the top of my head, but maybe Java or Sylvia could help me with that. But it was centered almost completely about building your own startup, and the professor kind of made us think in in a less technical way and more of a creative way, so that we can apply that kind of knowledge onto a business side. You know, anybody that's building their own company doesn't necessarily need to be a business major. They can come from a lot of tech backgrounds and eventually build a tech business or not, whichever thing works for you and your personality. But that course was incredibly inspiring, and the whole module itself made us go through the process of what it is to build your own company, from the research to creating, you know, surveys and finding out true statistical evidence on whether it's feasible or not, and then moving on to creating the branding, the logo, and, you know, after launch, how to maintain the application. So it was all very theoretical, but it was incredibly hands-on and inspiring, and I think it's definitely something the EDT course does provide.
Yeah, I think you meant the tech entrepreneurship by
Yeah.
Professor Philip Treleaven. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you will get also a lot of personal support from this professor as well. It's very keen to support students establishing their own startups. But again, you can get a lot of individual kind of support anyway. You know, if you see that you get if you see that any specific professor has some kind of expertise, you don't have to be shy. You can always reach out and pick up their brain. You know, there are usually some office hours, or you can reach out to them on Teams, so on and so forth.
I've got another question here, which is sort of about employment after studying. So, given the current job market, are you able to expand on sort of the employment rate or the time frame in which people tend to get their jobs after graduation? Because the person here notes that both alumni that we have today are sort of in some way connected to or helped by UCL to find their current roles. Would anyone like to comment on that?
I don't think we have collected this information officially yet. I have to acknowledge that it is not the best time to find a job at the moment. But I have not heard of any failed cases. I do see students focusing on their dissertation that needed a couple of weeks or a couple of months to find a job, but they all eventually come back with very positive news, which I'm very delighted about. And of course, we have, as you have seen with the cases, we also have a support from the UCL side. But I have to say, with the case of Amanda and Hala, Amanda actually secured her job kind of herself, right? She was just excelling at her dissertation, and the project supervisor kind of just grabbed her, and later she's working with the DLT Science Foundation, which also a couple of UCL staff members also work for. But I must say that you would get with the case of both Hala and Manda, they got their jobs, I think, with their own effort. Hala, I'm not sure. I don't think with me, I don't think I specifically helped you in any shape and form. I think you kind of reached out and things things happened. Yeah, so I don't think you have to worry too much about it with MSc from UCL. I think it is a great brand, and in any case, the fallback plan, you can always come to your personal tutors or faculty members of UCL, and we'll try our best to help.
Yeah, I'd perhaps come in there as well, just sort of looking for sort of hard statistics and data. There is a graduate outcome survey which is done. So it's done externally to UCL. It's all universities, and students are contacted 15 months after graduating. So it doesn't so much help with the time frame, because it's quite a long period of time after the survey. But I'm going to drop a link in here where you can sort of see what UCL graduates are doing now. You can see the percentages of students that are in full-time employment. You can see the average starting salaries, and you can even see some of the employer details. So it's a very interactive dashboard. You can filter it by subject, you can filter it by faculty, and it will give you a bit of an idea of what people are doing. So I shall drop that into the chat for everybody now. yeah, it's a public thing, so that's a really good resource. So you can see the graduate outcomes. I think we'll just take one last question and then we'll close the session today. So for one of our academic colleagues, is there an emerging technologies masters, something similar, that's not tied to blockchain or finance, but just the sort of tech industry in general? Or is there sort of a master's program that's perhaps a little more general, less to do with blockchain and fintech?
I think I can answer that as well. I still want to bring back to what we are promoting here today, or we're discussing today, which is the MSc Emerging Digital Technologies. Due to because of legacy reasons, as Sylvia mentioned, it was created by Center for Blockchain Technologies due to the demand of the market. There was a high kind of request and demand to have a blockchain related master programs. But we also see that the market demand has shifted naturally, and we are reflecting this kind of demand with our curriculum as well. So you will see one compulsory module, which is blockchain technologies in the program diet. But if you are truly uninterested, I'll be a bit sad about it, but that's okay. If you are truly uninterested in blockchain technologies itself, there are so many modules that are not particularly related to blockchain in the program diet for you to select. And certainly there are a lot of modules that are just about other emerging technologies, including AI and machine learning, and also the most recent trend LLM will touch upon, will include in our curriculum as well. So they would all be covered in the emerging digital technologies. I think it can be up to you to kind of design your own program within the program diet that we provide.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add on what Java said, it's definitely customizable. I entered with more of a curiosity towards fintech, but not really a passion to have a complete course about fintech, because I wanted to explore other technologies. And with that, I was able to play around with the different modules and eventually find my niche. But yeah, Java is very flexible with the courses. So if there is something that's compulsory, but you really don't want to do it, you can just talk to Java about it, or anyone else within the program directors and the program coordinators, and they can settle it for you relatively easily. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We're going to finish the questions there. I'm just going to sort of share one last slide just to kind of run through next steps and some important information. So just a reminder of the application deadline for this program. If you are an international student and require a visa, your deadline for application is the 27th of June. If you are a home student and don't require a visa, it would be the 29th of August. For any admissions questions, please send them to the address that you can see here. So it's cs.pgt-admissions@ucl.ac.uk. The two people that asked specific admissions questions about their applications today, I have responded to your question with this email address. So please do contact them directly. You'll get a recording of this, will be circulated probably early next week. And that will include a feedback survey. This is the first event of this kind that we've done for emerging digital technologies. So we would really value your feedback, anything that you've particularly enjoyed, anything you'd like to see different next time, how we can improve things, just so that we're doing what you need in terms of events. And then finally, just an invitation to connect with us on social media. You've got a couple of QR codes there, or you can just look us up on LinkedIn and Instagram. You'll get lots of regular news and updates. And then I just wanted to shout out the Spotlight series, which Sylvia mentioned earlier. Today, we've actually featured Hala, so you can read a little bit more about her story. But this is a weekly series that comes out on a Thursday, exploring the stories and the successes of both our alumni and our current students across all programs in UCL Computer Science. So that is all from us today. I want to say a big thank you to Java, Sylvia, Amanda, Hala, and Paolo for your time today. I want to say thank you to everybody at home for joining us. This has been a really, really interesting session, and we are here for any questions that you might have moving forward. All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.